Now, they said the CTC you've not seen and jumped to conclusion that you're supposed to resume plenary session tomorrow.
Why don't we pass on that? As a matter of fact, we expect to have the CTC today, but that also will determine our next step in action. The statement I made that day of me resuming on Tuesday was right immediately after the pronouncement of the court that my suspension was unconstitutional and excessive, and that the people should not be deprived representation, that even though the Senate has the powers to punish members, but they should not punish the constituents alongside. So based on that, when my people came home to my house in Abuja right from the courts, I did mention that, okay, with this victory, we look forward to going to work on Tuesday. But that being said, like I said, we anticipate the judgment, the written judgment, the certified trade copy, and that will determine the next step. But I'm very positive. But again, like I said, irrespective of me being under suspension, it never hindered me from working. I worked every day. I followed up on a lot of projects every day. I still spoke to ministers. I still followed up with agencies on many projects, so my people will not lose out of the 2025 budget, and that's what you've been saying. Just last week, this school we went to, the Akpoti College, we lit the entire premises with the solar street lights. Yesterday, you saw us have the groundbreaking ceremony for 2 smart markets in 2 local governments, 80 shops in each, with abattoir and other interesting facilities that ordinary markets should have, like water, toilets, electricity, and plugs in each shops. Again, the bigger part of today was when we visited the same school at Natasha Memorial College, a public secondary school, one of the first in the country, to distribute 700 laptops and 700 computers to each child, and that's a big milestone in digitalizing learning. So I'm so proud that my office of the Senator of Kogi Central, was able to deploy energy, network, I would say, and goodwill to bring this to our people. So at the end of the day, I don't think my people have lost anything, even though I know that I do have a number of bills, I do have a number of motions that I cannot pass on the outside. I need to be in there to work and proceed on my numerous bills and motions. But as much as representing the people's concerns in budgetary matters, I think I'm doing quite well.
I'll come back to that budgetary matters and the bill, of course. The final question, do you still, with that judgment, do you still have confidence in Nigerian judiciary?
Of course I do have. And the judiciary, like every other institution, is not perfect. It's not, we can't even say we're among the top most perfect in the world. But there is a huge room for development, improvement. But so far, even for me to be a senator today, is still out of the goodwill of the judiciary. You know, I went through courts, the tribunal and all that to emerge 6 months after my colleagues had resumed. So with the recent judgments, mind you, we had 2 other judgments, 2 other cases of the federal government against me, which a number of people anticipated I'll be, locked up at the Suleja prisons. But unfortunately, one of it had me granted bail of 50 million and a surety, and the other granted me bail on self-recognition because I've never been charged with any criminal offense in the past. No, and the matter isn't one of embezzlement or of one of murder or drugs, any of these heinous offenses, So I've been a good citizen with good character, and I trust that in the future considerations of the many sessions we'll have in the courts, this will be born in the minds of the judges. I do have hope that our judiciary is being fair to a large extent now, but again, like I said, there's room for improvement.
Okay, finally, my final question is, do you think your pending bills in the Senate will be approved before? Because you have less than 2 years
I have to be there. You see, the bills are personal, they are sponsored by me. Like especially the gold reserve bill, which is so critical. The gold reserve bill is so critical because that bill alone can transform our nation's economy. We keep losing so much revenue and so many jobs when we do not have accountability from data to the seismic report and what we're able to extract for the benefit of our country and people. We lose so much revenue from gold and many other industries. And I was hoping that by now would have finished up with the gold bill and moved on to others, like putting legislations for lithium, rare earth minerals, and many other minerals that Nigeria has in abundant quantity, but we do not generate revenue from. So, but these bills are bills that are personal to me, and I can't just transfer them to someone else to do. Probably other senators have their own bills that are of concern to themselves and their constituents. So, but whatever happens, still very hopeful that I will resume to complete and continue my legislative duties, because you see, in as much as I am a senator from Kogi Central, I am the senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, which means my constituency as well is the entire nation, especially with regards to the bills, like the gold bill. It's not going to be of benefit to Kogi Central alone, even though we have a lot of gold reserves in Kogi Central, but the entire nation will benefit. So the National Assembly should know that by denying me stay in the chambers and participation in the chambers is denying not just Kogi Central indigenes, but Nigerian women, of which we have only right now 3 female senators out of 108. So we are denying Nigerian women, we're denying Nigerian children, because every woman, every female senator by default advocates for children. You understand? And still, and again, for and by large, the many Nigerians whose ideals resonates with me and whose concerns I'm able to project through my bills and motions.
Do you still believe in the leadership of the Senate under Akpoti? Will you still believe in them?
Can we pass on that?
Sorry, I'm using it for a program tonight, so I just
Can we pass on that? Let me just say this. Let me just say this.
She knows what to say.
I believe, like this, I'm a first-time senator, right? But the feelers I have gotten from legislators who have been in the National Assembly, in the assemblies before this, they have credited better times in the past. So I would say that, again, there's room for growth and there's room for respect. When I say respect, on all fronts, of the rules of the Senate, of respect for colleagues, and just generally. So I think if that is deployed, then we could have a healthier and safer space for every senator to operate and function in. Let me say, there's room for progress, there's room for improvement.
Thank you very much.